For those who haven't picked up the book yet, it's structured as a sermon, which,
Yes,
as the grandson of a Baptist minister, I could appreciate. And
Thank you, sir.
So after the call to worship, you go into the hymns of praise.
Right.
And to open up this section, and this section of the book shouts out KRS-One, Lauryn Hill, Tupac. This is a book, by the way, dedicated to Beyonce Knowles and Beyonce Knowles Carter, excuse me.
Right.
Solange Knowles and to Tina Knowles as well.
Right.
And this section opens with a quote from W.E.B. Du Bois, which I really liked. It says, "What are these songs? What do they mean? They are the music of an unhappy people, of the children of disappointment. They tell of death and suffering and unvoiced longing toward a truer world." Now, one thing you grapple with in this book is, and this will be a two-part, I'm sliding extra questions in.
Yes, sir.
One thing you grapple with is this idea of truth. At one point you write, whiteness is not real, it is still true. Getting to this point you're talking about earlier, this concept of whiteness, this social structure, even though we know race is an invented concept overlaid into our lives, right?
Yes.
Can you talk for a second about why you began in these hymns of worship by exposing your white parishioners here to black culture, to these hymns that deal with the police, that deal with oppression, that deal with pain and trauma, and why is that an essential doorway into understanding blackness?
Well, that's a fine mind operating right there. That's a great point. I'll take the latter first, and then I'll back my way inferentially into the second. You know, I think that white brothers and sisters hear some of this music, and bless their hearts, they like, and it's not their hearts, bless their hearts. You know, they listen to something that's like, I don't even understand it. Well, welcome to older black people, too. They're like, oh, what in the heck are you saying? We come from a generation, at least I do, where Nat King Cole was used for elocution classes at Juilliard. Darling, je vous aime beaucoup. Don't know what to do. If I knew more French, I'd say. You can understand everything you're saying. Chestnuts roasting on an open fire. Jack Frost nipping at your nose. Yuletide carols being sung by a choir. You can understand everything you're saying. Now you got the measure of the cows, 100,000 to 100,000, 100,000. Excuse me? What in the heck are you talking about, Future? And I love it. I love all that music.
That's an excellent song.
It's a nice little song. It's a nice little song. I don't think Scottie Pippen thinks so, but that's on the other side. Oh, got to get some TMZ up in here. What's up, bro? I feel you. So let those who have ears hear. So what's interesting is that I come from a generation where a certain kind of clarity, a certain kind of logic motivated the sensibilities that were articulated in the music we listened to. There was purpose, there was vision. Not all of it. We get romantic about it. A lot of this stuff was dreck. It was horrible. It was dross. It was not good. It was not gold, right? Aretha Franklin was singing with a bunch of other singers whose names you can't remember because they weren't Aretha Franklin. But then you want to judge Aretha Franklin's, you know, powerful pedigree against some people now when that ain't fair, right? Because there's a lot of stuff that's horrible and a lot of stuff that's great. A little stuff that's great. That's in every generation. So I wanted to start with these songs so that even if people couldn't understand what they're saying something poignant and powerful. When Tupac said, just the other day I got lynched by some crooked cops, and to this day them same cops on the beat getting major pay. But when I get my check, they taking tax out, so we paying the cops to knock the blacks out. You don't have to be a Marxist theorist to understand subsidizing your own oppression. You paying tax money for cops who then turn around to hurt you. And when he says, somebody wake me, I'm dreaming. I started as a seed, the semen, swimming upstream, planted in the womb while screaming. On the top was my pops, my mother hollering stop from a single drop. This is what they got? Not to disrespect my people, but my papa was a loser, only plan he had for mama was the blanker and abuser. And even as a seed, I could see his plan for me, stranded on welfare, another broken family. Listen to the agony of Jay-Z. Back then, back when the police were Al-Qaeda to black men. So when people get riled up like I did this morning on CNN in New York when I said, compared the experience of many black people in terms of police terror to ISIS, how dare you? How dare you? No, you don't understand what I'm saying. I'm telling you that the police have acted arbitrarily, capriciously, and wantonly, and violently targeting certain people with ways and treatments and behaviors they would not give to others. There was an occupying force that happened under the edges of the state, and the first interaction that many black people had with the state was through the police, and they were often vicious and violent. I have been accosted too many times to tell you by the police, calling me nigger, threatening to shoot me, drawing a gun, bringing the butt down on my back, and threatening to kill me. Yes, that is terror, my brothers and sisters. That is terror to us. Yes, the police were like ISIS to us. They were like Al-Qaeda to us, because they were visiting violence upon us with no good reason and no justification, and we felt vulnerable. So I wanted that music to resonate. I wanted Beyonce to resonate, right? Beyonce, oh my God, she can't be black, is she? Can she black? Can she be black? Is she black? Does she transcend race? Why is it that, right, that we have to transcend race? Why can't we be black and human? Why can't we be black and universal? I read Martin Buber. Martin Buber doesn't have to cease to be Jewish. Ich und du, I and thou. Abraham Yahshua Heschel doesn't have to give up being part of a pedigree of prophetic expression within a broader Jewish tradition, within a Hebraic conception of humanity. Doesn't have to be de-Jewishized, de-Hebraicized in order to be resonant with a conception of the universal. The particular is the universal. When you ask for a rose and you bring your beloved a rose, as William R. Jones said, in that conception of roseness is the universal norm of what it means to be rose. That's Aristotelian perhaps, and that's a philosophical conception. I don't want to get bogged down into those niceties of distinction, but at the same time, when you bring your girlfriend or boyfriend a rose, you're bringing them the essence of the universal wrapped up in the particular. So why is it that black people have to stop being black in order to be human? And I think that's a problem, and I wanted to challenge that. And I wanted white brothers and sisters to see some of the agony and some of the grief. If Bob Dylan has a Nobel Prize, I can't wait till Jay-Z gets one, and Nas. It's only right that I was born to use mics, and the stuff that I write is even tougher than dice. I'm taking rapping to a new plateau through rap slow. My rhyming is a vitamin hell without a capsule. A smooth criminal on beat bricks. Never put me in your box if your stuff eats tapes. Ah, that's nice. Standing by the speaker, suddenly I had a fever. Was it me or either summer madness? Because I just can't stand around, so I get closer, and the closer I get, the better it sounds. My mind starts to activate. Rhymes collaborate. Because when I heard the beat, I just had to make something from the top of my head. So I fell into the groove of the wax, and I said, how can I move the crowd? First of all, ain't no mistakes allowed. There's philosophy and poetry. Talib Kweli said, these cats drink champagne, toast death and pain, like slaves on a ship bragging about who's got the flyest chain. Lauryn Hill said, even after all my logic and my theory, I add a cuss word so you ignorant people hear me. So there is strategy, there's deployment of narrative devices, and I wanted that to come through, but I wanted the pain, the grief, the sorrow, the suffering, the humanity to resonate. And that, to me, to back up to your broader point about what is truth, right? That's a biblical question. That's a philosophical question. You know, I trained at Princeton where a guy named Richard Rorty had been a professor there in philosophy, where Rorty said that reason can no longer be, you know, that philosophy can no longer be the tribunal of pure reason before which other disciplines genuflected in acknowledgement of its adjudicative power. That his rival epistemologies and claims about what's true and not true had to be worked out by an ostensibly objective, an Archimedean point of objectivity outside the flow of human history. And I'm saying we down here with Wes Montgomery, down here on the ground. We don't see, according to Leibniz, subspecie eternitatis. We see down here from the worm's eye view. And in that worm's eye view, that truth is what we make of it. That's what we know of it. And so we say to brothers and sisters, these are the truths that we have had to grapple with. This is the pain and agony that we've been confronted with. This is the mortality that we are forever forced to confront. And when I think about that truth, no, there's not one unyielding truth that will be true now and forever. But there are truths generated within the context of our own existence, where we know things to be real, to be true, to be powerful, to operate in a certain way. And if you got the power to make what you believe to be true, you're in a great seat. But if what you do has not been authorized by the state, and people look at it suspiciously and skeptically and look cross-eyed at you, then you are seen as a blip on the screen. You're part of an inferior species of thinkers and believers and human beings. And I wanted to challenge some of that stuff, and I wanted white brothers and sisters to think more strategically and more seriously about what that might mean.
Of course.